Why am I suddenly really hungry? This story starts with Fire Emblem Fates, a game I have not played. I'm gonna assume that Takumi is a beloved character in the franchise. He's a royal, so he's probably important and a good unit. Maybe? He also have a couple of memes here and there. Now we're in Heroes, a game that I probably have played. The devs promote the shit out of Takumi at launch. He's on one of the first summoning banners and even has a cool cutscene when you summon him. Remember those? You know how this starts. Takumi has close counter. In fact, he's the only unit who has this skill. You're probably still learning how this game works at launch, maybe have a full team of melee units, and suddenly there's this pineapple guy who can shoot you at range and can kill you. Can kill you back if you try to attack him on player phase? What the heck? Not to mention the cherries on top known as Threat, Speed, and Vengeance. Let's say that you do player phase onto Takumi and both hit each other. It's enemy phase now, and not only does he hit you once, but he also gets a follow-up attack. That's the Threat and Speed, which likely makes you slow enough for Takumi to get the follow-up and finish you off. Nobody ever uses Vengeance nowadays, but this is also before skill inheritance was added. Not everybody had a special to do boosted damage. Also, I forgot about Fujin Yumi. It has pass built in, which is a joke skill nowadays, but hey, it's something on a 14-mic weapon, which could probably surprise a new player by allowing Takumi to snipe someone on the backline. How do you beat this guy? Gang up on him. You can't kill everyone in your team all at once, but that'll ruin your perfect arena run. Someone with a Raven Tome maybe? That's the only way to get a decent weapon. That's the only way to get a weapon triangle advantage on Takumi. Male Robin works since he at least has the defense stat, but Cecilia here doesn't have a great defense stat. And then there's Henry who doesn't even have an attack stat. 1 month later, we finally get skill inheritance. Now Takumi can be even stronger than before. Swap out that silly Vengeance for Moonbow, give him Vantage now that he can use a B skill, and thus the close counter Vantage build is born. Now he can hit you on his player phase and then strike back on his enemy phase. And if you're feeling quirky, give him Threat and Defense so he can do a little bit more damage. Now how do you beat this guy? Pretty easy actually. Takumi may have gotten stronger, but so is everyone else in this game. You know how builds such as Fury Desperation Blade Tomes, Fury Vantage builds on distant counter units such as Ryoma, and every dragon now that they can run Lightning Breath? There's even Triangle Adept Bowbreaker Raven Tomes which were designed to kill bro units such as Takumi, as well as Reinhardt, but then again he beats everyone. Stat-wise, they were just bigger fish in the sea who could now eat it well. Besides, the new hit trend for archers became quad builds. Slap a Brave Bow, Life and Death, as well as Desperation, and delete everything in 4 hits before they could hit you back. And Takumi wasn't even the best archer at doing that. People tried that with Setsuna because she had a whopping 37 base speed, but then moved on to Bride Cordelia because she had an actual attack stat, as well as good speed. And then there's Bravelyn, who was the first and only cavalry archer for a while. Also, you could do something sacrilegious and fodder Takumi for close counter. Give it to someone like Kagero, who could run a baby poison dart which has effective damage against a bunch of infantry units, or give it to a Blade Tome or Morale Tome mage if you want power or bulk. Takumi was still relevant though as a character. When the first Hero Fest banner was released, he was one of the heroes on the banner along with Ryoma, Azura, and Hector. Each of them were all meta threats at the time. He even made it onto a voting gauntlet back when those were still interesting. I think you know where this is going as well. There was this weird theme which had guys with long hair and girls with short hair. Of course Takumi is here because his hair is long enough. He wins his round 1 and his round 2, notably making it farther than his brother Ryoma. And for his final round, he's up against Shanna? Okay, he's up against Shanna. The voting gauntlet is surprisingly close, with Takumi holding on to a slight lead. But eventually at the final hour, Shanna narrowly gets the win over Takumi. There wasn't even a comeback multiplier either, she just wins. Flash forward to the next month, introducing weapon refines. And of course, Takumi is a part of the first batch of people to get his refine, putting him ahead of everyone else so far. He gets a movement refine. You could give him one of those brand new bond skills. Everyone else gets stuff like Fury, a guaranteed follow-up attack, Life and Death, big splash damage. Yeah, it's so over for our pineapple guy. Cheer up, Takumi, this next year will surely be yours. And what's a good way to start the year off with a New Year's ult? You like soup. And you have Bowbreaker. Hey, at least you have an ult. Honestly, after losing so much over the past year, I think Takumi actually did fall off that cliff, and came back as his fallen final boss ult. This time, he gets Scatty, which at least does something in combat unlike the Fujin Yumi. It's just that it only works on turn 3. But you do 10 damage and inflict panic in an awkward column. It works better in the Grand Hero Battle where there's 2 Takumis, just trust me on that. Still not happy with how Faye is treating you? Maybe you should spend some time off and relax. Not like that, not like that. Since this is a seasonal ult, this means that you get a funny looking weapon. You shoot arrows with fish on them. Oh, and you're the first ever flying archer. That has to count for something, right? Hello Kenshin Hanoka. So 3 ults in 1 year is actually pretty good. Most people would be lucky enough to get even 1 ult, but here you are with a full-on Takumi emblem team. Not to mention that base Takumi is now given to everyone else for free in the tutorial. If you have a 4-star plus 10 Takumi, then you are a funny person. Unfortunately, that's the last thing that Takumi would ever get for the next couple of years. And since half of the Takumis were seasonal alts, while the other half were generic bow units, it's safe to say that Takumi has become completely irrelevant once the devs realized, oh wait, you have to make alts for characters from other games. So he lost out on the chance to get an alt that was actually really strong. The only things that Takumi has gotten recently is a Resplendent alt and a Refine for that Scotty bow. I like how he gets a Hell costume since it fits with this Fallen alt. As for the Scotty Refine, it now works on turns 2 and 3. Oh, and you get a couple of in-combat stats as well as some splash damage. So at least it's no longer just a 14 might beat stick. Now we're in the present day, known as 2023. Oh my gosh, Takumi got a brand new alt! And he's actually pretty decent! Because he's an armored unit in the present day. Here, he's a blue mage, so he actually gets to stand out as a fast far save unit. I don't think his bulk is good enough to be a good far save tank, but his weapon can probably make up for that because he is pretty fast. But then again, he's also a seasonal unit, so it's mainly just diehard Takumi fans who would roll for Valentine Takumi and make him really strong. There's also other far save tanks, such as anyone with some form of distant counter. Oh. And these are just the people who naturally get far save in their base kit. Okay, maybe fast save units might not be as good as I think. They've been done before, by characters with better bulk than 40, 28, 31. You're doing your best, Takumi. I've always wanted to make one of these thumbnails, but this feels uncanny valley to me and I don't know why.